Snipers, you have to see what's happening to the Bitcoin price this Thursday with an extremely important candle closing yesterday and a candle high of 69,000 US dollars with a pullback down to 62,822. This was no surprise for those that have been tuned into the Snipers channel. We talked about the outside environment being not in the favor of Bitcoin seeing upside yesterday with the DXY pushing up to see new yearly highs after the inflation numbers came out. We also saw another push to the upside with the DXY today. And so this is a huge puzzle piece to talk about, and it is more important than ever to discuss the range that Bitcoin is in with a retest of a market structural support level, which was previous resistance. And of course, this is showing confluence with where the weekly open is at 63,300. This is a very critical range for Bitcoin. And I want to talk about some of the institutional timeframes because the 6-hour chart is showing that we are seeing rising sell pressure. And now we're seeing the most amount of volume that we've seen since the start of this consolidation when Bitcoin first tested 68,000 US dollars. And the fact that this was a sell candle tells us that this is a very critical area for Bitcoin. But the question is Bitcoin really going to top out at 69,000 US dollars for the short term? Or is this just a garden variety pullback and a retest of a support level before seeing continued upside? I had to get this video out to you guys, especially after seeing everyone in the Discord talking about this move. We have the #1 cryptocurrency Discord community in the world. So we're going to go into an intraday analysis here. And first I want to talk about the range that we're currently in. When it comes to support and resistance levels, you can see our chart has been exactly on the dot with this retest of a market structural support level. The next area of support that Bitcoin currently needs to hold is going to be the $61,844 level, where we have the monthly open just below this level. And I would say that this is the support level in the range that we're in, being the fact that yesterday's candle did pierce through 64,855. But realize this, 64,855 was the previous all-time high on April 14th for Bitcoin. And this is also an extremely important area. And right now on the 4-hour chart, which for those that have been tuned into the Snipers channel for quite some time, you know we wait for 4-hour candles, full body and wicks for a confirmation of a breach of a level or a breakout of a level. We have yet to see a full 4-hour candle close below 64,855, but I had to get this video out with this new 4-hour candle just now opening here in the last 7 minutes below the $64,855 level. If we're not able to get back towards this extremely important price range, in my opinion, the retest of the monthly open becomes highly likely, and that we could potentially come down to test 61,844. And of course, we will have to hold this level if we want to assume further upside for Bitcoin. Now for the bulls, if we can get back above 64,855, as a matter of fact, if we can just have a cup of coffee here and just sit and consolidate in this level, that would be the most bullish case for Bitcoin right now to then continue to see further upside. But when we look at the environment outside of Bitcoin right now, we have to address the fact that the DXY is pushing up, and we'll talk about how the S&P 500 is reacting to that. But right now with this 4-hour candle that we're currently watching, we need to get back above 64,855, and preferably a confirmation of more upside at this point is going to be the candle high that we saw here at 65,600, because if we can get above this, we can move away from this consolidation range. And then we don't have to assume that we're just seeing another flag to potentially see a continuation in the same direction. And so 64,855 is extremely important right now, alongside with 61,844 if we see any further momentum, and specifically a full 4-hour candle close below 64,855. But if we can just get above 65,600, then that could really change the storyline here, and the bulls can get back in control and in the driver's seat. And so that's what we're watching here with Bitcoin. And remember what I talked about with the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart, seeing some downside with the move that we saw to the upside for Bitcoin, and then with Bitcoin seeing a red candle. Notice how the Ethereum to Bitcoin price is still right now below its weekly open. And so that is a sign of weakness when it comes to Ethereum's value against Bitcoin. And of course, this is a leading indicator for all of the other altcoins. And so when we look at the chart that factors in the altcoins outside of Bitcoin and Ethereum, notice how we are showing weakness even further below the weekly open than the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart. And we're actually sitting at this monthly open. And so This is a very big puzzle piece because if Bitcoin were to continue to see downside, that would assume that we're going to see more volatility and downside for the altcoins. And with Ethereum to US dollar price back inside of this extremely important range, the Ethereum to US dollar price is certainly going to be affected by the Bitcoin price getting back above 64,855. So if we want to continue price discovery for Ethereum and Bitcoin, 64,855 is the major level to watch. But regardless of the fact that Ethereum to Bitcoin chart is certainly the more important chart here. Now, I do want to talk about Bitcoin dominance really quick because we're also seeing some weakness here with Bitcoin dominance, but not necessarily anything to go home and tell grandma about. We are still potentially in the early signs of a reversal here, being the fact that we've yet to cross the lows that we're seeing. And so with Bitcoin dominance still potentially in a double bottom formation to see upside and follow the DXY as it usually does, we have to realize the fact that Bitcoin is the stronger player in the market right now, and there's certainly a lot of capital flowing away from altcoins into Bitcoin. But I think the biggest thing to realize is the 6-hour chart right now showing this institutional time frame with sell pressure at 69,000 US dollars. This is going to be a big puzzle piece if we start to see any further downside, because that could have been the start to something even bigger when it comes to a potential downside move. And so things are really starting to brew in the market. I think that the outside environment is more important than ever. For those that have been tuned into the Cypress channel, you know why it's so important to watch some of these other assets and some of these other charts, because that's how we predicted this move to the downside for Bitcoin yesterday. I said specifically that the outside environment just was not looking in favor of Bitcoin. It was the first time I said that because the DXY was calm throughout the last few weeks, but it wasn't until yesterday that we saw that new yearly high after the inflation numbers came out. And today we're seeing a continuation of that move, validating the fact that DXY still wants to push further and is potentially on the way to 95.885. And with the US dollar strengthening, asset prices naturally will come down. And with the S&P 500, you can already see the effects of this because we are not above the weekly open, and we have 2 red candles already looking like we want to come and test this monthly open. If we see any further downside with S&P 500, that could also affect Bitcoin's price. So this is a very critical moment. And when we look at some of the international markets like Japan, China, and the Euro 100, we're not necessarily seeing anything significant. The Euro 100 did form new highs today, so that is something to note. But this has been the weaker market outside of the S&P 500 when it comes to international markets. And so seeing some upside here doesn't necessarily bring so much positivity, but gold is pushing to the upside. And this is also a huge puzzle piece that we talked about yesterday. And this was not a good puzzle piece for the cryptocurrency market to see for the upside, because when gold moves up, it shows that there's more fear in institutional capital. And so we're going to continue to monitor gold. And when we look at this gold to Bitcoin chart, this has been probably the most interesting chart to watch over the last few days, because I specifically said that what I was watching with this candle low that was on October 20th, just at that 2669 level, is if we were to breach this candle low, it would have been a confirmation that Bitcoin had a lot more gas left in the tank to see upside. But it wasn't a coincidence that on November 9th, we saw a candle low just 1 unit shy of this candle low, but it did not breach this low, which tells me that this is a chart that institutions are watching right now. And there was a reason that gold moved up specifically when this chart was coming back down to potentially form further lows, and has yet to form further lows. And so this is going to be something we're going to monitor as well, because if we start to see strength here for gold against Bitcoin and we move towards this 50-day moving average, realize that that was the exact thing that happened on April 14th when we initially predicted the short-term top for Bitcoin. And then as soon as we crossed above that 50-day moving average with the gold against Bitcoin chart, that's when we saw the short-term top. And so this is going to be a very important chart to watch over the next few days and the next few weeks. And then, of course, when we get back to this total cryptocurrency market cap chart, we have yet to see new highs here. And so we cannot assume new money is coming into the market just yet, but we are starting to see this show more strength than the Ethereum to Bitcoin chart above the weekly open, telling me that there's certainly capital flowing around in the market. But if Bitcoin is not able to rescue itself above 64,855, that is certainly going to be a very big puzzle piece to keep in mind throughout this week. And so it is more important than ever to monitor this consolidation range. If we cannot get back above 64,855, Then the next level of support is 61,844, which has to hold if we want to assume further upside for Bitcoin, or then the door opens to potentially come down to test 58,353. So this was a very important video to throw out right now. As soon as this 4-hour candle closed fully below 64,855, I knew I had to get this video out to you guys. And you can see our candle high right now, 64,836, just a couple dollars shy of our extremely important level. You all know here on the Snipers channel, every single red line here is the most important price for Bitcoin, because these are extremely important support and resistance levels based on volume and accumulation. So the wrap up here is 64,855, extremely important, 61,844, extremely important. And then for us in the more macro, to see further upside, we have to at least get above 65,600 at this point to see the continuation of price discovery here for Bitcoin and the other altcoins. And this institutional time frame is also going to be a huge deal over the next few days, being the fact that the most volume that we've seen so far inside this consolidation was a sell candle. So very important stuff. And I'm going to continue to monitor the Discord chat. Remember, we have the #1 cryptocurrency Discord group in the world, and I'm learning a lot from you guys talking in the chat. You can see even right now we have conversations going on with Busby, Uriel07, Terabad, one of our great contributors. And so I appreciate each and every one of you guys that are a part of our community. And with that being said, thank you all for tuning into the video today. I'm actually staying in Mexico for a couple more weeks. I decided to extend here in Tulum. It's an amazing place to be, a lot of awesome energy. And so expect the video tomorrow, right on schedule. And until next time, thank you all for tuning into the Snipers channel today. That's it for today. Snipers